Okay, we're back to recording for the archive. This is section 4. Basically, at this point, there's not going to be much happening. All we're doing is really just waiting to see how the bond trades develop, and we're waiting for a 5-minute squeeze.
70 and 20.
So there's really nothing to do until that happens. So we're just going to be recording here, and then once any of these things fire off, we'll jump on it.
$70 and 20, 687, 20. $687.20. Hey, Don. 70 and 20. $687.10.
Malcolm, that's an interesting question. No, I have not done Monte Carlo simulations to evaluate this. But, yeah, if you have information on that, I'd be interested. We've kind of gone through and just try to, take out, and kind of and looking at the way we set up the trades, looking at the risk-reward for the trade, but then also, looking at situations, so we're not, we don't have enough exposure where we're going to get margin calls or anything like that. But yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that. I have not done that though.
20 and a half. $70 and 30.
For those of you that are going to be coming up to the office to do a mentorship, we've got a 75-gallon tank that has an eel, a 1.5-foot long arowana, a stingray, and a catfish. And they all eat like live prey.
70 and 20, 70 and 20.
So it's kind of our reminder that whenever we throw the live prey into the tank, those are newbies going into the market, and then the market makers are the predators that are in the tank, and so we can watch how fast they get eaten. So it's a good daily reminder to be humble. But for those of you that are going to be coming up here and trading with us for the mentorship, you can help us feed the carnivores.
$70 and 20.
Oh, Scott, that's my fault. Earlier today I was trying to take out a Fibonacci cluster line.
70 and 20.
And I moved this, so let me move it back to where it's supposed to be. There. So that should be right now.
720 and a half. $30.
Yeah, on the mentorship program, basically, on the mentorship program, this is basically what we do. Hubert and I would trade together out of the Boston office, and it's just set up in a condo. I mean, we've done this in a normal office space, but what happens is all the other people in the building start coming in and seeing what we're doing, so it's very distracting. Plus, you have salesmen coming in. So we just have a condo where we've got the living room as our trading office. We've got 15 computer monitors and computers just kind of in a half circle in the middle of the living room. And we just sit here and trade, and then people can come up in a mentorship and basically spend time with us, live trading. If you have a laptop, we encourage you to bring it and you set it up, and you actually do executions in your own account. And it's kind of like a boot camp. We ask you, if you're taking a trade, we ask you to justify it, what you're doing. You can see the trades that we're doing, and basically just spend a couple of days to a week with us doing that. And for some people, they don't need that extra attention, but for some people, they find that it's great because it really, in the course of 1 week, you can basically get a trading plan for, that can pretty much last the rest of your life.
We make you take personality tests, IQ tests, and stuff like that, so we can figure out how you're wired, so that we can actually, stop the bleeding too, or take you to the next level. and then it's pretty much we're looking over your shoulder. It's pretty much boot camp, and it can sometimes it can get a little harsh. Sometimes it's real nice and pleasant, but it's designed so that you can learn our stuff, but you can also think for yourself, and you get a real intense type of immersion training. So,
Tim, basically the cost is for people who are not members or have not been to a seminar. It's $1,200 a day. Most people do it for a week. If you've been to the seminar, one of the seminars or anything like that, then you get a discount off of that. I think it's like you get a discount of like $200 a day off. Some people just come up for a couple days, and some people do it for like a week. But if you've been through the seminar, you'll have seen most of the stuff that we do, and you can email us and call us and stuff like that too. For people that are looking for a little extra attention, a little extra work, and that's an option that's available.
There's a couple that we use, Jordan, and then what we do is we test them on it, and then it tells us, what kind of type of person they are, what type of mentality, so we can see like strengths and weaknesses of that personality based upon what we've seen over the years with successive traders and stuff. They're just a couple that we use, and then.
Well, also too, there's tests to find out: are you more of an auditory person, or I'm talking with my mouth full, or more of a visual person? Based on that, you need to set up your charts a little bit differently. Based on that, me personally, I do have I'm strongly visual, but I also have strong auditory and sensory perceptions in my own personality. So I need to have not only my visual charts, but that's why I need to have the audio stuff that helps me out, and different things like that. So once I learned that about myself, and I was able to set up my charts and my trading plan under that, it just helped a lot. And so that's what we do with everybody else too. There's a couple of tests that are based under NLP programming, some based that are on Myers-Briggs and things like that. So if you're familiar with those and if you've taken them, you can actually let us know, what your results were, and we can help you, with your own chart setups and stuff like that.
Right, and then there's a couple just straight up IQ tests. They're just the standard IQ tests that you can find.
NLP, for you guys that don't know, it's neuro-linguistic programming. It's just a way to kind of program your brain for different things.
Oh, it most definitely is, Malcolm. That's the reason you take the test. So if you do have somebody that is up there on the scale, you just have to teach them that they've got to leave that stuff at home when they're trading. And it's pretty much, you will make more money trading if you are just stupid about trading. I mean, it's just pure, just common sense. Signal, react, trade it. Signal, react, trade it. If you try to overthink it and move stops around and stuff like that, it makes it real hard.
Yeah, the 5 minutes trying to fire off. We'll keep it on the 5 minute here. Yeah, the other thing I've seen, Malcolm, I know we've worked with a couple of guys who are PhDs that they had great, they knew more about indicators and stuff like that than we did, but they couldn't make any money trading. And really it was because they wouldn't stick to their parameters. They'd get into a trade, and because they were very intelligent, they would then try to outthink the trade. Once I'm in the trade, then I'll start, adjusting my parameters and stuff like that. So once they figured out the trading methodology part, they were fine. But that's where, that's the toughest thing that traders go through, is that they think that once they're in a trade, they can manage it, without their emotions or without their intellect taking over. But unfortunately, when those two things happen, the markets are designed to take advantage of that. So if you allow yourself to sit there and make an emotional-based or intellectually-based trading decision once you're in a trade, you're going to lose. So I put the charts here on the 5 minutes. So we'll keep a look on these 5 minute charts and see which one fires off. Manny, you can call John Emery or Priyanka. They've got the open schedule and the spots that are left.
630-80. 630-80. $630.80. $630.70. $630.70.
Oh, it's just because it's crunched up. It's just because it's crunched up on John's charts off. That's the only reason why. If he would take the RSI off the bottom, and he's got 4 little charts that he can show you guys. That's the only reason. It's just scrunched up and you can't see it right now. That's all.
At 60. 630.60.
Now, pay attention to this guy. This is Joe. He replaces the normal pit guy. So, pay attention to what he's saying, and he'll give you more information than the regular guy does, okay? So just pay attention to what he's saying. Who's buying, who's selling, who's above, who's below the market and stuff.
670 even. 670 even. 670 even. Add 90. 670 90. 670 90. 670 70 even. 670 70 even.
200 up and down.
Yeah, keep a little chart on the bonds. No. Because I'm going to trade. I guess I'm going to fake trade.
670 70 even. 670 70 even. 670 70 even. Add 70 even. 6 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 add 70 even. Add 90. 6 half 90. 6 half 90. 6 half 70 even. 6 half 70 even. Very thin at 80. 6 half 80. Dow's plus 108 on the day at 99.33. 630.70. 630.70. 6 half 80. 6 half 80. 6 half 80. At 80. 6 half 80. 630 80. 630 80. Add 70, 630, 70. Add 70, 630, 70. 630, 70. 630, 70. Add 70. 6 add 70. 6 add 70. 6 add 70. 630, 70. 6 add 70. 6 add 70. 70. 6 add 70. 6 add 70. 70. 630, 70. 6 half. Add 670, 680, 70 even. 680, 70 even. Add 80. 6 half 80. 660, 80. Add 80. 6 half 80. 6 half 80. Add 80. 630 half. 630, 80. 6 half 80. 6 half 80. 670, 70 even. 670, 70 even. 670, 70 even. 677 even.
All right, so this first bond trade, you're going to get stopped out here.
677
Getting
even.
stopped out on the bond trade. So when the first one doesn't work like that,
677 even.
then I just don't do any more for the day.
Why, John? Why don't you do 2 or 3 more trades on bond? Really? Why don't you do more? After you get stopped out on your first one, why don't you?
677 even.
Yeah, the tricky thing on
677
bonds
even.
is like today when they opened up right at that quarter point level.
677 even.
You want to get basically my rule of thumb for that when that
677
happens,
even.
which is rare, is you wait for if you wait for a rally,
677 even.
a rally 3 ticks above, or a
And
decline 3
6
ticks
half
below, and then you fade that first one.
680.
So when I got back, I guess I got back about 12:30. It was below. It didn't quite get to the 3 ticks.
670 even.
What I found is that in the bond trade, the best trades, by the time you get into 12 noon, the best trades are set up where you're kind of sitting there, kind of in between 2 quarter point levels, and then you set up a buy limit order and a sell limit order, and then you go.
Trade, add 20,
Today was a little
20.
weird because we opened up right exactly at that quarter point level.
70 to 20.
So that's kind of rare.
Okay, question is, when TradeStation prices updates are running late as occasionally, i.e. this morning, do you use some other price source to make positions decisions? Yeah. One thing you can do is you can default to time and sales. That's usually accurate. And you can also look at your bid and your ask in your actual execution software. And that's the reason that we keep it separate. TradeStation for data and an execution broker for execution. That just gives you the bid and the ask. Or market, they'll give you market depth in the visual representation of DOM, but at least you can still see how it's printing off and stuff, okay? So if that does happen, all you do is you just look over at JTrader or Strategy Runner or TradeMaven, you'd be like, okay, TradeStation is behind. I'm already at 12 points, 15 points on my trade. I'm going to go ahead and exit here, okay? You always have a backup plan for a backup plan. Remember, 1 is not 1. 2 is 1. It's just a military type of thing. It's just 1 is never 1. 2 is 1. And it just goes back to, if you've got some deck cord and you got some primer and you got some deck cord. If the first deck cord's bad, then you're pretty much screwed. That's the reason you always take extra deck cord. So.
Locals by 720 half. 727 half, bad 30.
Got the red dot on the NASDAQ now, too.
Bad 30, 70
Ticks
30.
jumping up, Ticky jumping up.
70 to 20.
What? It's kind of loud, huh? At least we knew what was going on.
720 40. Add 30, 70 to 30. 70 to 20. Add 20, 70 to 20. 70 to 20.
One thing I do too is I actually I like to run additional data feeds, so I run eSignal too. So I find if eSignal's lagging, then TradeStation's usually running fast, and vice versa.
70 to 30. 70 to 30. 720 30. 720 40.
Question is, lately my TradeStation 2000i has been lagging. Any solutions? What are you feeding your TradeStation 2000i with? What's the data feed behind it?
Add 30, 70 to 30.
eSignal? No, other than just eSignal. I mean, you'd have to contact them. Lately eSignal's been getting a little worse, so.
720 half.
It's part of it. I mean, you're never going to have a rock solid data feed. You can. Here's the trade-off. You can either have a rock solid data platform like CQG, which is it's a valid choice. It's a really good platform, but it's so closed that you really can't take advantage. Other than market profile, it's excellent for market profile, but it's hard to get indicators built for CQG. But as far as a solid data provider, they're probably the best out there. I don't think they ever go down. They're never laggy unless there's just a problem at the exchange. So.
770 80. 770 80 even. 778 even. Dow's plus 119 on the day at 99.44. 778 even. 778 even. 778 even. 778 even. 778 even.
I know, they do it every day.
778 even.
I don't want to be the guy that's like, hey, it's still
778 even. 778 even. 8 straight. 8 straight at 8. Locals by 8 straight at 8. At 80. 770 80. At 80. 788 even. 8 straight. At 8. 788 even. At 8. 788 even. 778 even. At 90. 770 90.
Okay, now did you hear this guy saying locals
770
buying?
90.
So locals are stepping in front and the locals are buying. Locals are the kind of the ringleaders. They sit in the middle and the bottom step on the pit, okay? Then you've got step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Or, I don't know exactly how many steps there are, but they go from the center ring, step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the outer ring, okay? So when the locals are buying, pay attention to what the S&P does when locals are buying. So they bought up in here, right? And when he said that, what was the price action?
8 even bad, at 20.
Trade station issues, they're not that bad. I mean, you may have
830 minutes 70.
4 or 5 or 6 issues a year with trade station. That's about it. That's what I found.
880, 8 half, 80 at a half, 820 half. Thursday pitch it up. Local sell at a half, 828 half, at a half, 820 half, 820 half, 820 half.
A good way you can counter that, Scott, is put you up time and sales. Time and sales is usually pretty accurate. But I don't really recommend that you clear through them because it does happen when the action gets a little
at 30,
little hairy or a little sporty, as we say.
at 30, 820 30.
It's kind of like independent. Like some people will have sporadic problems, and some people won't have problems at all.
820 half. 820 half. 820 half. 820 half. 820 half. At 30, 8 even 30. 8 even 30. 830 half.
Okay, we're 5 minutes far now?
830 half.
Okay, we got the 5-minute squeeze.
830 half.
So you can see we got the blue dot there.
At a half, 820 half. 830 half.
Yeah, no, it's funny what happens with the bond trade. And
trade.
the bond trade is actually a very
70,
nice, very
70.
regular trade. Today we got stopped out on it. Don't let it
At 70,
dissuade you
70.
from trying it again because it really does. It's 80% of the time it works. That means 20% of the time it doesn't. But we found it to be a very nice, profitable trade.
Some people are saying that they're
830 half.
they're talking about the trade station being erratic. Some advantages on
820 half.
All right, went through it once.
Also, too, you'll find some people intuitively love the bond
At
trade,
70.
and some just don't. It doesn't do anything for them. And if it
At
doesn't, that's
70,
fine.
at
You stick with the
70.
stock trades, which is why I like
At
to have a
830.
couple of different markets to trade.
830 half. 830 half. 820 half.
Do you have a green histogram on yours?
820 half.
What, sir?
For the 5 minutes?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a histogram on mine.
820 half.
Because you need to get that. You need to get that stanky stochastic off the bottom of it.
820 half. 830 half.
Bigger.
Well, it has to stay
8 half
inside
70.
the, that's a good idea. Remove.
Add 70. 8 half 70.
Now blow up that chart.
8 half 70. 8 half 70. 8 half 70.
The green. Sometimes when it fires real short like
8
that,
half 70.
you just got to zoom in on it.
Okay.
And so that you can actually see it.
Add 70. 8 half 70. 8 half 70. Add 80. 870 80. Add 9. 879 even. Add 80. 8 half 80. Add 70. Add a half. 830 half. Add 30. Add 20. 8 even 20.
All right, so we've got a 5-minute long
8
squeeze in
20.
the Dow, but we don't have one firing off in the S&P yet. I'd like to see that confirmation. But let's go back to the
8 20.
233 tick. Remember what I said about R3s?
Add 20. 788 20.
We do have the 144 tick firing off here. Markets really have a hard time
Add
moving
20,
above
8
R3. So, to be honestly, I'm a little
8
hesitant to
10.
take the trade, but I've also learned never to argue with the 5-minute squeeze. So I'm going to look here and see if we can actually get a
788
pullback
20.
here to R3 and then look at taking this.
8 even 20. 8 even 20.
Sure, Ron, and any of you guys that are in the seminar, if you guys, what I can do is I can put together a little chart with the rules for the bond trades when they open up right at a quarter point level.
Add 8. 788
Just send me an email, and I can email you like a sheet for that.
Add 8. 788 even. Add 80. 760 80. 760 80. Add 80. 760 80.
All right, so what I'm going to do here is we do have a 5-minute squeeze going on.
788 even.
I'm going to see if I can get a pullback here to R3 on the S&Ps for an entry. Now, normally, just to clarify, when I see a squeeze like this, I'll just take it right at the market.
780.
The only concern I have is that we're at R3. So, I mean, we don't have much higher to go.
Yeah, it's just still a little extended.
But I've learned, not to really argue with the 5-minute squeeze. I would like to see the S&P fire off here.
That's what's called a stop for insurance. Yes. The 5-minute squeezes are very, very accurate, and they work a lot of the times. But when they don't work, that's what a stop is for. Okay, guys?
So you can see we're pulling back to R3 here on the Dow. See if we can get a pullback here on the R3 here on the S&Ps.
798 820. 10 local bid local offer.
All right, we just got a scalper sell. So let's see how the next scalper buy sets up in conjunction with the 5-minute squeeze. So that should give us a pretty good entry. All right, so same rule here. We got a scalper sell. I'm not taking it because, first of all, the internals. Can you turn that down for just a second? Thank you. We just got a scalper sell. I'm not taking it for 2 reasons, okay? What are the 2 reasons I'm not taking the scalper sell here?
I know.
This is for you guys that were at the seminar. Okay? First is the radar screen, right? Okay, what's the second reason I'm not taking the scalper sell? Time of day, right, Malcolm? So it's the doldrums. So I don't take any trades in the doldrums, all right, unless it's a 5-minute squeeze, and that's a scalper sell. So I'm ignoring it. So there's two reasons there. Now, this is a little interesting because this is not a normal 5-minute long squeeze because we're right in R3, but I still want to take it. So what I'm trying to do now is use the scalpers in conjunction with the 5-minute squeeze to get myself a decent entry. So we have a long squeeze on the Dow. We don't have one yet on the S&P. But if you look at the 233 tick here, we're in a scalper sell. So now what I do is, because we're in a scalper buy on the Dow, I would look at taking the next scalper buy signal. All right. So just to be clear, I'm not taking a scalper buy by itself because in the middle of the doldrums, I've got a 5-minute squeeze, and I'm looking for a good entry on the 5-minute squeeze. If we weren't at R3, I'd just be going in at the market. But this is a way to finesse it a little bit so you can get yourself a little bit better entry. All right, so now I'm waiting for the markets to pull back and see if we can get a scalper buy setting up. I'd like to see a 5-minute squeeze fire off in the S&Ps as well. Yeah, we definitely have some key resistance levels here.
At half, 720 half. $730 half. At half, 720 half. $720 half. $730 half. $720 half.
Just looking at the charts. No, well, we got a 5-minute squeeze, but I'm just kind of waiting for since we're already at R3, I'm just kind of waiting to see if we can get a pullback and then take the next scalper buy. See if that fires off with a 5-minute squeeze on the S&P. I just, I've actually, I don't. That's the only reason I wouldn't take it right here is just because we're already so extended at R3.
I'm thinking we already ran it up. The market's still.
70-20.
You can't change.
I know.
The buying up here makes you feel like you're changing.
Well, I just, part of the, when we're talking about the pivots, it's just like part of it is like, when you get up to R3 or S down to S3, I mean, that's the move of the day. And so now. So
if you missed today's trading, you just missed it.
Yeah, right.
You're better off looking for shorts up here than you are long.
So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how the next scalper buy sets up. I mean, I don't like to argue with the 5-minute squeeze, but I just. This is kind of unique, you guys that are in here. I mean, I've actually never seen a 5-minute squeeze fire off into R3, so that's kind of a new one for us.
Yeah, but risk and reward, we both had really good trades today, so it's not like we really need to take the unnecessary risk to risk 10 or a 20-point loss.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see I'll see if the S&P fires off. But I mean, this is kind of a new situation, so we may just kind of sit back and pass on this one. But I mean, everything looks bullish internally. Normally, what will happen on days like this is that the markets will just consolidate near their highs, and then the last 30 minutes they'll push higher.
70-30. Big Down Brothers bid 71-10 at 30.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I just don't see any reason to initiate a trade here. I know I said that I always take the 5-minute squeezes, but Honestly, this is the first time I've seen a 5-minute squeeze fire off into R3. And when I see a new situation like that, I actually like to see how it unfolds before I take a trade like that. This is the first time I've ever seen that happen.
Britney Spears, Madonna, Michael. See how it works.
677 good. 687 even. 697 even. 687 even. 677 even. 677 even. And 677 even.
Man, it makes me feel like I'm eating this thing or something.
Yeah, it's like
Put that headset on, see if you can hear it.
677 even. 677 even.
Can you hear me breathing?
Yep.
Can you really?
No. Not loud.
Audio 1 2, audio 1 2.
Here, sounds fine.
Sounds good. What about this? Well, the mute button works good. That's pretty cool. I wonder how it sounds farther away. How's this mic sound, guys? I'm going to move it a little bit farther away from my mouth here, so you don't pick up my breathing.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to actually pass. I'm going to pass on this trade. You can see we're actually going back into a red dot here on the 5-minute. I've really never seen a 5-minute fire off into R3 like that, and so it kind of made me a little nervous. So I just want to see how this plays out, since I've never seen that situation before. You know, it's kind of like you're always looking for repeatable patterns. Well, I've never seen this before, so I want to see what happens with it.
Yeah, Jim, you always wait for the 5-minute to close. You always want the first blue dot to close completely. Audio 1 2, audio 1. It's not going up there, huh? Okay.
Can I hear you?
I guess. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, they can hear me. He just thanked me. Is sound alright with this mic? It's a little bit easier for me.
That one's off? Yeah.
Yeah, took the cord out. Faintly? Oh. Crank my sensitivity up a little bit.
Are you on the side?
Yep. Yeah, not as good as before. Sounds like I'm whispering. Audio 1 2, audio 1 2. 1 2, 1 2. 1 2. Do you know where the threshold's at, John?
You can try talking normal. I'm watching it. Yeah, just talk.
Okay, I'm just talking normal like this right here. So what you're looking for is on the one red dot above the master one. Yeah, the one. Yeah, right there.
Not talking normal.
Just talk normal.
You're talking quiet.
All right, so just talk normal like this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hubert, could this be a major reversal if the 5-minute fires off short? You mentioned this last week. This can, but it's starting to act a little spotty. But it could do that. I'm keeping my eye on it, Richard.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I just don't like it if it picks up your breathing.
Actually, you can barely. I mean, you can hear that much.
This is easier on me. It'd be nice if we had a boom mic that came right down here so you could kick back a little bit.
Right.
670 even. 80 straight at 7. 670 even. 670. 670.
I'm gonna put this microphone next to the speaker and tell me if you can hear.
670 even. 687 even. 687 even. 680, 90. 660, 90. 680, 90. Add 90. 660, 90. 687 even. 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 Add 90. 680, 90. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. Add 20. 7 straight. 687 even. 687 even. Add 90. 680, 90. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. 70 even bid. 70 even 20. Add 30. 70 even 30. Add 10. 687 10. 687 even. 687 even. 687 even. 697 even. 697 even. 20 up at 7, McDowell Brothers. 697 even. 20 out 7, McDowell Brothers. 677 even. Add 90. 670 90. 90, 670, 90. 677 even. 677 even. 677 even. 677 even. 687 even. 70 with 30. With 30. 20 bid, add a half. 20 half. 20 half.
That's like a plus 1,200 take.
20 half. 20 half. 20 half. 20 half.
So we still got just red dots here on
20
the
half.
5-minute chart, on the S&Ps, on the NASDAQ, and on the Russell.
Cubs terminal offered at 40 local bid.
Does it? Okay. So this kind of shows you again about, like we were talking yesterday, not really taking new trades during the doldrums except the 5-minute squeeze. You can see how even most trades, how things are kind of choppy and you got to wait. This morning the trading was quick, the movements were fast, and you can get in and out of trades fairly quickly and fairly decently. In the afternoon, everything just slows down, so it's kind of draining to sit there and watch it.
20-40.
That's the only thing I don't like here about new longs is that we're right at R3. And remember we were talking yesterday about the pivots? R3 or S3 is pretty much going to be the extent of the move for that particular day. But we'll see how we set up here. I'm still flat. I'm just kind of watching to see how things set up here.
I feel like Britney Spears with this microphone. What's some of her songs? Her and Madonna. Drop back into a red dot. It's acting weird. I bet you $10 the reason it's acting weird is because it's already ran up 100 points. Look at the run. Look at that. That is a run. And if you were not smart enough or fast enough to catch at least some of that run, now you're sitting there going, okay, should I buy here?
So 20-40. So 20 half. Dollars plus 111 on the day at 99.36. So 20-40. So 20-60. So 20-60. 7-70. 7-70. 7-70. Add 70. 7-70. 7-70. 7-70. 7-70.
4
7.5 to 80. At 70, 7.5 70. 7.5 70. Here comes Paul.
All right.
7.5 70. Seven half 70. Seven half 70. 7.5 80.
So you can see that basically the 5-minute squeeze, we're back into red dots. So we actually don't really actually have a squeeze that's fired off.
7.5 80.
So what you need is the squeeze to fire off, and then you get the higher histograms. Otherwise, it's not a signal. So we're actually back into the red.
778 even.
So we still haven't had an actual squeeze fire off. So if we can actually get some blue dots on the S&P and back on the Dow, this market is poised to move higher. It's just that there's not much room left because we're already at R3. But I'm still watching this, and if we can get a valid signal,
7.5 80.
We'll take it. But remember, typically during a day like this, when the market pushes up 100 Dow points,
7.5 80.
Early in the day like that, you just spend the afternoon consolidating, and then in the last hour of trade, you get a continuation of the trend. So, I wouldn't expect much of a push higher until a little bit later.
7.5 80. 7.5 80. 7.5 80. 7.5 80. 7.5 80.
Yeah, basically the fact that the market's not pulling back at all is very bullish.
7.5 80.
Look, let's flip over to the radar screen. If you flip over to the radar screen, you're not going to see a market more bullish than this. This is about as bullish as you can get
70.
on an intraday basis. Look at the trend.
7.5 70.
You had the trend. The trend started off heading lower, and it's just consolidating at the lows. That's extremely bullish. Trend Q heading lower, consolidating at the lows, extremely bullish. The put call is falling a little bit, but unless it falls below 0.60, it's still bullish. Look at the ticks. The ticks have only been below zero today, like about 5 minutes total. Okay, they've spent most of the day above zero, and they've spent a lot of quality time here in the extreme readings above 600. Okay, there's no extreme readings on the downside. All right, and then if you go over here to the sectors, every sector on the day is green. That's super bullish. And on the tickies, you can see here we've gotten buy programs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the last 2 hours. Okay, remember what we talked about and how to determine if we get buy or sell programs when reading the ticky. We've had no sell programs at all today. So this is a very bullish market. Typically on a day like this, you're going to see the markets consolidate. Now what's going to happen is this is where we're going to find out if bulls, are really in this for today. During the last hour, we're either going to break out and rally another 40 to 50 Dow points, or we're going to collapse. And so we can get clues to that by looking at the radar screen. And so that's what I'll be doing through the rest of today, is flipping back and forth between the radar screen, the 5-minute squeezes here to see how we fire off, because we're back in red dots on all 4 markets. And then, of course, just watching the pivots and the ticks here. So we just have quiet action. There's nothing to do. I'm not taking any trades. I'm just watching, and I'm waiting for the next setup. And that's a part of a successful trading plan, is you just got to be patient and wait for the next setup. And it could be hours. There's some days where we take 2 trades in the morning, we wait 4 hours for the next trade. But the key is we're not sitting there getting chopped up during the doldrums or giving away our money on trades that don't have a high probability of working out. To me, this market is going higher, and now it's just being patient and waiting for an entry. There we go to plus 600 ticks. Watching the squeezes, see if anything fires off. Right now, nothing's firing off. Yeah, let's take a look at the euro. Now, normally on the euro, I'll go to the euro and take a look at it when the stock market's quiet. Obviously, the stock market hasn't been quiet today. If you look at a euro trade here, potential euro trade, if you look at a potential box, and what I'll do on the euro is I'll draw potential boxes, okay? So here we have a potential box between 1.234 and 1.233. So that's like about a 10 pip box. Now I like to see at least 15 to 20 pips. But what we need here is another test. You know, remember for our box trade, we'd need another test of the highs and another test of the lows. And then once we got those, we could buy a breakout and short a breakdown on the euro. Okay? And this is a 5-minute. But remember, the euro, I'm really trading on days when the stock market isn't giving me anything to do. And today the stock market's, been giving us plenty to do.
Por favor.
770 been a 90. $670 been a 90. 680.
Yeah, Scott, I actually have set up an alert on the squeeze, and we're working on kind of improving it. What happens?
6.580.
Sorry, can you turn it down again?
It's okay. 7.580.
What I do right now for an alert on the squeeze is anytime I get a red dot, I'll hear an alert. What I need to do is fine-tune it so that anytime I get a blue dot after a series of red dots, I get the alert. So right now I get the heads-up alert, so every time there's a new red dot, so for example, if there's 12 red dots, I'm going to get an alert every time there's a red dot. Red dot alert, red dot alert, red dot alert. So I finally removed them because I spend all day, that's one of the charts I'm watching all day anyway, and plus I've got Hubert watching it, plus everybody in this room. A lot of people are watching it, so it's not a surprise to me, like if there's a 2 or 5 minute squeeze, I'm going to know about it. If you're trading on your own and you don't have the benefit of other people helping you and looking at the trades, then I think doing that alert system would be fine. But that's how the alert works, is you get an alert every time a red dot is formed. So you can just sit there and you get an alert. You get an alert. The alert does not mean that there's a trade, but it means that it's going into a squeeze. So then you just got to wait for it to come out of the squeeze and then take the trade. Yep, no problem. $770 been a 90. $770 been a 90. $770 been a 90. All right, I'm going to pause this recording for the archives and then start another one here in just about 30 seconds.